RO faucet, about, I don't know how many years old it is. And for many years, actually, after we got city water, didn't maintain the proper filter. In fact, to be quite honest with you, I forgot that I had to have the carbon pre-filter take chlorine out. And so the membrane went bad a long time ago. But because water came out and safe water was going in, there wasn't a big deal. Just used it for my coffee pot. Now I had this take into leaking because reverse osmosis water or distilled water, any demineralized water will eat piping. That's why we use as much plastic as we can. And stainless steel. Stainless steel is a little bit better, but it still will eat it. And after changing the membrane out recently and getting it back to RO, it started leaking. In fact, I've replaced 3 out of the 4 faucets over the lifetime of the system. So here we got another one. Now this is an iSpring, and it's pretty tall. I actually reused the spout part on the bathroom where I put it in. Now it comes with this little package. Oh, feeling cute. Look at that. Look at a little connector and some clippies and a little base to go around here. Works pretty good. The problem is, most people will have a connection like this. It says it's 1/4 inch PEX. Let me see if I can pull it up in there and get that focus. Probably not. Anyway, it says on there 1/4 inch PEX because the internal diameter, which is full of silicone, because I use this as a stopper when the valve won't work. This guy is 1/4 inch internal diameter, and the outside is 3/8. So to connect to this iSpring, I either have to use this in a small piece of 1/4 inch, or I have to use 1/4 inch, take it all the way down to the valve, or I can just slip off the old one at the top, take it off, and then build this. Now I ended up going to Lowe's to try to find just an inline, just one of these, that is 1/4 inch to 3/8, because that's all it needs to adapt this gray line to the plastic, or to the pipe here. So I ended up having to spend twice as much money after going to 3 different places trying to find this. And what this is it does the same thing. I'll end up with a 1/4 in this, and of course that's a male pipe, and then of course that's a 3/8 female to 1/4 inch, and they'll just screw together. They'll do the same thing. So let's go stand on our heads. Okay, now this may not be super techno, but when you get old and up is easier, actually up is not as easier as down, you use your cell phone. I'm just doing a little look-see there, and you see that nut, we'll have to use a faucet wrench, take that loose, and we'll probably take that loose up at that point. That little compression fitting right there will be done. Then we put her in. Okay, got some cell phone footage. It's always good to have a little flashlight. And I put those 2 pieces together, and again I just needed a 1 coupler, about $5, but instead of being able to find the 32 at Lowe's that they said they had, I ended up having to buy 2 pieces at twice the price and make one. Now this is that faucet wrench, and it works like a pipe wrench where this jaw opens up and catches. We'll have to use that, take that nut off, take them apart, and of course we'll just use that little spacer and this little rubber guy on there, and he hand tightens down with that plastic. Okay, it's turning on me down below, so I need to hold the top. I don't have anybody to help me, so I had to use a pipe wrench, and that's going to scar up, of course, the valve. But then again, I don't really plan on ever using this again. It has done its job. We've got it there apart. We've got our little contraption here, which is actually 2 pieces instead of 1 piece like this, which would be 1/4 to 3/8. We got our little hole cleaned up right there, and we're going to put her in. Okay, still on the cell phone video, but there we go. It is installed. We go down and look underneath. I got a little bit of wet where I took the line off. I'm gonna let that dry. It actually has water on it, so I'm gonna try it empty. Since I live here, not a big deal. I'm gonna leave this cabinet open, let that dry out, and then check for leaks to make sure nothing goes bad on me. And of course, I don't see any drips in the sink here, which is just beautiful. Well, let's check the delivery of the potable water up to the house, and we'll check the RO water over here now that we've replaced the faucet. And this is not scientific, but I have a container, okay? And I'm just going to try to roll it till it looks like it's filled up, and we'll check, get an idea of whether or not our RO system is a little weak on the delivery, because that's one of the problems that you have is in production of the water and the delivery of the water, the speed at which they can do those two things. So let's try the city water first, the potable water. Okay, you get an idea how long it took to fill up that. It's not bad at all. Good water pressure up here, this far up the hill. Now we're going to do the same thing with this, and we'll try not to get splashed. I'm trying to get my bald head in the video. Now, it's at least comparable in delivery to that of the city water. So if you're filling coffee pots and stuff like that, one of the annoyances of a lot of these RO systems is you turn it on and it starts to go, and then it runs out of pressure, drops down to the next nothing, you get a little dribble out of it. Now again, this system that I have is a whole house system, and it runs three others of these of some sort in each of the vanities, and also the ice machine. I have something I want to show you. We're going to do a water test to see whether or not the systems deliver the demineralization that an RO system should. So I've got a little test, and when I tried to get this on camera to show this, it didn't want to focus real good, but eventually it did, so it's kind of slow. So let's give this a try. Now this is an old system, and I'll try to hold it up here looking at the monitor. Okay, that's about as good as it's going to get, I guess. And it says, okay, it says what I do is I put a stick down in the water for 1 second, and I pull it up without shaking the water off for 30 seconds, and then I test it against the little color bands. And this is a little hot, total alkalinity. It's a strip. Now, it's not dramatic the way a lot of the water filter salesmen do. They'll take their number of reagent, their little reagent bottles, and they'll fill it with water to the line, and they'll put the reagent in and go shake it up, and then you'll see something floating in there and go, oh my gosh, I've got iron, or I've got calcium, or whatever it may be in there, and it makes it look like you have issues, including the chlorine test. And I've already done a chlorine test before. This is old and not guaranteed perfectly accurate, but we're going to do just a comparison between the Stones River water and the RO water in just a second. Be right back. Now what I have is a ultra sensitive accurate timing device, which I'm sure is certified to the cesium atom clock there in Washington D.C. and I have two strips. As you can see, there's no coloration changes on it. If I hold a little shadow, it takes some of that blue off of the LED fluorescent, whatever is up above me. But you see there's no change in that. And I have, of course, the test strips. We're going to do it. Now it says put it in there for 1 second, and we'll pull it out. We'll wait 30 seconds, and then we'll check it against the color standard here on the bottle. And we may have a little photographic challenge getting that up to 2 waters. One is the RO water, one is the potable water. Let's try first. Let's see what the old Stones River will give us. You ready? All right. Now pull it out. It was about what, 4.5 there, something like that. Okay. Now when I put this up here, I'm going to try to get this up to the camera, and hopefully it'll focus. It's probably around 180, something a little past. Now when I see this with my real eyes, I have a little more color intensity. It doesn't look quite as washed out as it does on the monitor. So that's one of them. That must be the city water. Now I have another strip. We're going to dunk it in there, same way, 1 second, pull it out, don't shake the water off, and see what it looks like. Okay, let's see what we got up here. Try to put it up here in the light, see if it'll focus. Come on, Mr. Camera. Right about 0 as far as I can tell, if it'll stay in focus. And we'll compare these two together. All right, looks like the reverse osmosis system demineralized the water. Now, for future episodes, we'll talk more about the system itself and what I did to improve its performance and some, past things, whatever. We'll talk about that in a future video. But remember, reverse osmosis water or distilled water, demineralized water, is not healthy to drink in its exclusivity. If you'll read most bottled water, DeSanti used to say we add minerals back for taste. And that may or may not have been a true statement. They did add minerals back, but the motive may have been misleading. Because mineralized water, whatever water comes into contact with, it often tries to dissolve it. That's how we get the dissolved rock in the water. It's been in rock and it's dissolved the water. I mean, the water has dissolved the rock out of the aquifer where it's in. Now, when we have other things in there, if we take all of those things out, when that water touches things that can have a redox chemical reaction to, it will break down and it will bring things in like iron and magnesium, these other minerals that come into contact with it. Well, when you take those minerals out, the water gets aggressive and it wants to put minerals back into it. And if it can't get it from any other source, if we don't put some back in there to kind of neutralize it back down, it can, if you drink an extreme amount of it, it can demineralize some of your bones and some of the other issues that can cause issues. So when you read a bottle of water, like distilled water, see if it has any minerals added back to it. If you have reverse osmosis water, like drinking water, the DeSantis, read the label and you'll see they put minerals back into the water. Now the idea is we take them all out, get them perfectly clean, and then we put back some known quantities of minerals to help safeguard your health. I mean, so I don't see there any problem with wanting to drink less rock. If you have a great deal of trouble with kidney stones, RO water may be a great idea to cut some of that down. But just remember that it doesn't need to be your pure and only intake of water, because you'll be missing out on some of these other minerals. And you have the whole vitamin, whether or not vitamins actually are absorbed by the body, that kind of thing. But that's a video for a different conversation, and really a conversation to be had later.